Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a packed episode as the Atlanta Hawks continue to solidify their roster heading into the 2025-2026 season. We got some really exciting things going on right now. Summer League actually just began last night. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So from Nikola Jurasic's promotion, if you will, to a standard NBA contract, to Jacob Toppin actually locking down a two-way deal, re-signing with the team after he concluded the last season with the Atlanta Hawks on a two-way deal, and from a thrilling Summer League victory to high praise from Dyson Daniels, the last year's most improved player. We're going to break it all down for you here. So without further ado, let's dive into the biggest headlines coming out of the ATL. So on Friday, the Hawks took an important developmental step by officially signing 21-year-old guard forward Nikola Jurasic, very versatile offensive player. They signed him to a standard NBA contract. The notable thing about this is that it's not a two-way deal. I mentioned that he was a potential candidate for Atlanta's final two-way spot, but now we've also got an open two-way spot with the Jurasic signing because he's going on the main ball club. So it's kind of similar to Mo Gay's deal, and I'm going to talk about that a little more in a minute. But he's someone who's going to be with the main ball club and not lock down a two-way. So the Hawks have two open roster spots remaining. He's a 2024 second-round pick. He's drafted 43rd overall. Jurasic actually spent all of last season refining his game with the College Park Skyhawks in the G League. He ended up getting hurt and not really playing much. However, he still showed signs of growth and knocked down this long-term contract. His rookie campaign in the G League saw him averaging 12.2 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game, over 24 contests, including 3 starts. So while shooting numbers, 40% from the field and just 18% from deep, definitely need some work. It shows real areas for improvement. His creativity with the ball and versatility on both ends, clearly stood out to Atlanta's front office, moving forward with this new identity. So actually, we do have the details of the contract. When it was first sent out from Hawks PR, it was reported that the details of the contract would not come to light soon. But Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype actually revealed the details, and he actually said that the Hawks inked Jurasic to a 3-year, $5.95 million deal. So just awesome value for a guy who has some real potential. $1.27 million of it is guaranteed for the 2025-26 season. So just great value for a guy like Jurasic. The team used the second round exception to make this happen. It's, like I said, similar to what they had for Mohamed Gay. It's not a two-way contract, which is just very notable. He's now officially a member of the full 15-man roster. And with this move, the Hawks now obviously have 2 open standard roster spots heading into training camp. Obviously, with Summer League going on right now, we're going to watch that develop, but also be keeping an eye on what the Hawks do in free agency for the remainder of this offseason, because they still have 2 spots to fill and potentially that third two-way spot in Lamont Butler, but he hasn't put pen to paper. I talked about that in an article that I put out yesterday, so we're definitely going to be keeping tabs on that. And now we're going to move on to really another guy that the Hawks signed. They were very busy over the last 24 hours, and speaking of young talent, the Hawks announced that Jacob Toppin has been re-signed on a two-way contract. Toppin actually joined the team late last season, as I'm sure you all remember. He signed on March 4th and primarily played with the College Park Skyhawks on his 1-year two-way deal. He definitely didn't really get a lot of time with the main ball club, just considering the time he signed and what was going on at that time. But he did log 1 appearance with the Hawks, but he did make it count. This was a game where a lot of people weren't really playing. I think it was towards the end of the season. It was actually the regular season finale against Orlando Magic. What am I talking about? He did explode for 17 points on 6 of 12 shooting, including 5 of 8 from beyond the arc, to go along with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. So definitely made the most of the opportunity he got at the very end of last season, just showcasing his potential. I mean, he's obviously the brother of Obi Toppin, who was just in the NBA Finals, and he's got some high flyer in him as well. So maybe it's something that the Hawks see, real potential in. I mean, the 25-year-old forward already committed to Atlanta's 2025 Las Vegas Summer League squad. As we saw last night, he actually had a standout performance last night. We're going to talk about that more later when we give our game recap. But this contract also means that he's going to participate in training camp and probably remain eligible for 50 NBA games, which is, the maximum you can play under the NBA's two-way terms. Maybe he impresses and then they convert him to a standard NBA deal. That's definitely unlikely, but it's a possibility considering the optics of the two-way contract. I mean, Toppin impressed again, like I said, during Atlanta Summer League opener against the Heat, and then his hustle and rebounding and shooting touch are giving him a real chance at long-term opportunity, and it's good that he's going to be one of the two-way guys. I talked about him a little bit on X a few weeks ago because I do like his game, and I mean, while he is a bit on the older side, I do believe that he has some real potential in the NBA. So now we're going to talk about last night's Summer League opener. It was very exciting. It looked a little rough there for a moment, and definitely had some flashes of a tough watch. But the Hawks pulled it together. So they kicked off their 2025 Summer League schedule in Las Vegas with a 105-98 comeback victory over the Miami Heat. It was a game that had it all. They had lead changes, clutch plays, and young players flashing their upside. Definitely good to see. That's really all we have to pay attention to in Summer League. Don't really look at the shooting splits for these young players, but just look at the shots they're able to create and, kind of the impact they have on both ends, regardless of if the shots are falling or not. Never pay attention to shooting splits in Summer League. I feel like as Hawks fans, we've learned that over the past several seasons. So the team's first-round pick, Asa Newell, that was his debut. So we were paying a real close attention to him. He actually opened the game with a confident three-pointer from the wing. That was actually Atlanta's first bucket of the game and his first shot attempt. It was a good look off of the assist from Kobe Buffkin. He would go on to post a kind of a balanced stat line with 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists in 26 minutes. So definitely wasn't scoring as much as, he was the number one option at Georgia, and it's a bit of a different situation for him here, especially in Summer League when everyone's trying to kind of get theirs. But he still played some good minutes, looked pretty solid defensively. The shot looked a little awkward, but this is his first real action. He was also going against Khalil Ware, who was Miami's starting center last year. So definitely a kind of a tricky opponent for him, but he still played solid, and I liked what I saw from him, especially on the defensive end. Also on the offensive glass. He made a big impact on the offensive glass, and he racked up 8 rebounds. Just all night he showcased solid defensive instincts and kind of an improving offensive feel with, room to grow. So after leading early, the Hawks actually trailed by 8 entering the fourth quarter. That is when third-year guard Kobe Buffkin took over. There was a little stretch during last night's game where, Buffkin, I feel like, started the game hot, and then second, third quarter definitely looked a little rough. But even while he was looking rough offensively, he still made major contributions on the defensive end. He was keeping up. He was contributing as a ball stopper, and he was good on the weak side, and he's definitely someone who can affect the game without their shot falling, which is what the Hawks need. But he did look good with the ball in his hand. So the 21-year-old Michigan product actually dropped 17 of his 29 points in the final quarter, finishing a perfect 15 for 15 from the free throw line. Definitely staying true to the SGA comparisons that he occasionally gets when people watch his offensive game. So, like I said, his assertiveness and his ability to draw contact were the difference makers late. He's definitely learned a lot from Trae Young when he had several moments in that fourth quarter when he would drive and bump and lay, and he would definitely... He looked more experienced. He looked like a vet in drawing contact, definitely with these young guys who are trying to earn an NBA contract, and they're playing real tough defense. Kobe knows how to attack them. He was good with the ball fakes, and he was getting to the rim with ease. Very good to see, but he also wasn't hesitating when it came to taking a step-back jumper or really, he got his shots. He really did. Jacob Toppin, though, the guy we mentioned earlier that Atlanta signed to a two-way contract, he quietly had a massive impact. He played a really good game, and honestly, he probably had the best game out of any Atlanta Hawk last night. He had 19 points and 10 rebounds and a team best plus 21 in 27 minutes. It further validates the Hawks' confidence in him, and it's kind of not really a coincidence because they knew that he could do stuff like this, but the signing came not long before this. So Adam Flagler and Ellie Najee, they both added 12 points off the bench, and so they're looking like real contributors, and I'm excited to see them moving forward, maybe in an increased role. I definitely, they made some real two-way plays, and Ellie definitely really showcased some defensive prowess, and he had one chase down block, which was absolutely ridiculous. He ended up getting hurt on the play. but he was fine and he came back. And right after he came and knocked down a three, so he's got that real dog in him. And honestly, I love that Atlanta's scouting team really found him in Real Madrid and picked him up quickly after the draft. He's going to be a fun player to watch for the rest of Summer League, and I definitely enjoyed his first game, and I'm excited for him moving forward. His corner three actually helped seal the win after a Buffkin drive and kick, so he has that clutch gene as well if we're basing it off of his first game. Atlanta scored 28 of the final 37 points, actually outscoring Miami 37-22 in the fourth. It was a fiery comeback and a showcase of grit, depth, and development. Just all things you like to see in Summer League. The Hawks next face the Phoenix Suns on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. So we got another one this weekend after a day today with some rest. So it's a chance to build on this exciting momentum. The Hawks are 1-0 in Summer League, baby. So now let's move on and talk about one of the more intriguing side stories of Friday's Summer League game. A lot of people were just focused on the game and just watching guys like Asa Newell. But Dyson Daniels, the reigning most improved player and defensive player of the year, was also watching the Hawks courtside with several teammates. Jalen Johnson, Beat Krejci, and several others were there. Also notably, this isn't really what I'm leading into, but Keaton Wallace was there. We talked about Keaton Wallace last episode, about how he is currently a restricted free agent. I think it's a good sign that really points towards the Hawks bringing him back, that he was there courtside with all the Hawks teammates, cheering on the young guys in the Summer League. So definitely interesting to see. During a mid-game interview, because Daniels was pulled to the side, because who wouldn't want to talk to Dyson Daniels after the season he just had? He was asked about Atlanta's offseason moves, and we got to really hear his opinions on it for the first time. His response was very bold. He said that we are real contenders now, and that's a bold endorsement and one that truly speaks volumes. Atlanta, as we all know, has made a series of aggressive, intelligent offseason moves, including obviously the additions of Kristaps Porzingis and Luke Kennard and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Asa Newell, and some of these two-way guys. They brought in Jurisic on a standard contract. So they've been super busy this offseason. And also the return of healthy core players like Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, and also Dyson himself. So hearing that kind of belief from someone like Dyson, who's probably the best guard defender in the NBA, should raise eyebrows across the league. He truly believes they're contenders. Trae believes they're contenders. We haven't heard much from Jalen yet, but I'm sure he also believes that same sentiment. Daniel's comments reflect the growing sentiment around the NBA. The Hawks aren't just retooling anymore. They're ready to compete in the wide open Eastern Conference and contend for a championship as early as next year. So to recap, Nikola Jurisic is officially part of the Hawks roster for the foreseeable future on his second-round exception 3-year deal. Jacob Toppin is sticking around on a two-way deal, and he showed why last night in his first Summer League game this season. The Hawks opened up Summer League with a statement comeback win, and players around the league, including Atlanta's own Dyson Daniels, are beginning to take Atlanta seriously as a contender in the East. So we're going to have full coverage of Sunday's matchup, but also episodes in between. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Plus, all the time we're going to have updates on roster changes and trade rumors and really everything going on with the organization. It's been awesome covering the Hawks, and I'm more than excited for the next full season. So thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update. We're going to have videos every single day. And as always, once again, thank you for watching. I'm Zach Langley, a.k.a. Langley ATL, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.